Hello everyone, this is your host Vaibhav. I welcome all of you to today's session of Daily Stock, in which we are going to take a look on the quarterly report of the JP Morgan Chase, which is one of the largest bank not only in America but across the world, and it released its earnings for the first quarter of 2024, in which it is seeing uptick in the bottom line as well as in the top line. The revenues have risen, its profit is also on the higher side. But if you consider the stock price reaction to the earnings release, you will see that after the earnings report came in, we have seen sharp decline in the stock price, and which is around 7 percentage point lower. So the natural question is why the way the investors have reacted, the way they have reacted to the earnings report, which is seeing growth. And the simple answer is you will have to look at the fundamentals as well as the technical side of the stock's performance over last few quarters. In it, you will see that the revenue growth has been there. Of course, for the last quarter, that is the fourth quarter of 2024, the net profit was on the lower side, but that was because of the one-time charge, and that is not the case anymore. So there was a sharp dip in the net profit last quarter, but now the net profit is on the prior trajectory and slightly up. But this growth rate is not really up to the mark as per the expectations of the investors, and that is why we are seeing this sharp negative reaction, sharp bearish reaction to the earnings report release. Now we will go into the details of this report to see how things stand on the fundamental side. And in it, you will see that on most counts there is growth. Sometimes it is in the low single digits, sometimes it is in the high double digits, but growth is there. It's not that the revenue, or for that matter, other key metrics are in negative territory. The income statement is showing net increase in the net income, with first quarter 2024 income standing at US dollar 13.4 billion with the EPS of US dollar 4.44. The managed revenues stood at US dollar 42.5 billion. There is this detail regarding the balance sheet as well. We will not really go into the details of the balance sheet because we are more concerned with the changes in the company's earnings instead of its financial standing. This is the highlight of the first quarter financial results. The managed revenue is on the higher side. You can see that this is showing growth on most of the parameters. This is the result segment wise, and we will not go into the details of this as well. If you want to access this information, you can access it from the investors relations page of the JP Morgan Chase. For the outlook, the expected financial year 2024 net interest income is of US 90 billion, and the non-interest income is expected to be around US 89 billion mark. So the cumulative income is likely to be in the ballpark of US 190 billion, averaging around US 45 billion per quarter. All right, now we go to the consolidated statement of income. Here it is. With this, we have the earnings report for the last few quarters, and then you can compare the current quarter, that is the first quarter's earnings, with the prior quarters. If you compare the first quarter earnings to the fourth quarter of 2020 to get a quarter on quarter analysis, you will see that the revenues are up. The total revenues are up 9 percentage point in quarter on quarter terms, and in terms of year on year terms, these revenues are up similarly 9 percentage point. And if we consider the net income is up 44% quarter on quarter, and that I said in introductory remark itself that there was one time charge related to the FDIC, and that had lowered the net income. But now we have this net income in line with the earlier quarters of fiscal year 2023, and there in annual terms, in annualized terms, that is year on year terms, the net income has risen 6 percentage point. And this is one key factor why the stock has reacted negatively, because if you see the stock price performance over the last few quarters, it has been acting quite bullishly. The growth has been phenomenal. It is up more than 50 percentage point year on year terms. But then you see that the net income is failing to keep up the pace of that investors' expectations. Then, of course, at some point in time, the stock is going to correct, and that is what we are seeing after the release of earnings report. Now coming to the financial ratios, most of these are on the solid footing. There is not much to worry about. And here's the consolidated balance sheet. With its strong balance sheet, the company is well prepared to meet any kind of uncertainty, any unforeseen emergency as well. And there is a systemic firm, the Federal Reserve, keeps a close watch on its financial standing. So a lot of people have interest, the government, the investors, the regulators, everyone wants the bank to remain on the solid footing. Now we turn our gaze to the fundamental side of the technical side of the story. We don't really have currently the cash flow statement at hand, and as a result of that, our analysis will be somewhat restricted. I tried to download the total document of the quarterly report, but for some reason it couldn't be downloaded, so I had to settle for these highlights only. Now let us see how things have worked out for the investors since the release. And this earnings report release caused the spike in the stock on the lower side, on the bearish side. So if you had gone for the short sale trade prior to the earnings report release, you might be sitting on the lot of profit. But if you were someone holding the stock, that is if you had buy side position in the stock or any related derivatives, then you are of course in loss, sitting on huge losses. And for the next few sessions, I am expecting the bearishness to persist. We are not really likely to see any kind of sharp turnaround in the stock price, in the investor sentiment of the JP Morgan Chase so soon. It is likely to take some time, and eventually it might start to rise again. But for next few sessions at the least, we will do well to remain on the bearish side and keep looking for the opportunities to go short in it. So for next week, the key price level to watch out for is going to be its immediate swing low prior to the earnings release. The price area, the price zone of around 192 to 195 is going to be crucial. As long as the stock price remains below the immediate swing low area. This is where I feel the stock price of the JP Morgan Chase is likely to find support if it starts to rise from the current low. So for next few sessions, if the stock goes into a consolidation phase, then as long as it doesn't really rise much above this prior swing low, I will be fairly confident of its next leg on the lower side, and we can even go for a new short sale while adopting a sale on rally approach. So for us, the things to take note of is going to be this immediate swing low, and if the stock price does rebound and consolidates anywhere close to or below that, we can be fairly confident of its bearishness and go for a new short sell trade in next few sessions. Now enlarging our time horizon, and if you change the candlestick time period to daily, you will see that prior to the release, the stock price was going up and up for many months. There was only one-sided momentum in the JP Morgan Chase stock, which rallied from the price of around 135 in the late October to this high of around 200 in the first week of April, and now it is around 18 to 19%, 8 to 9 percentage point lower. But still, if you go by the logic of higher highs and higher lows, we still have the formation in the bullish stage from the medium term perspective. So if your view is of medium term, I don't really feel right now is the time to go short in it. Instead, you will have to allow it to consolidate, and maybe after a couple of weeks, depending on how things have shaped up, we might be in a better position to go for the newer trading assessment and then decide accordingly. But right now, it's too early to say that the stock price of the JP Morgan Chase has peaked and it is likely to reverse course. It's too early looking at the stock price performance and the formation. It's just the first day of the sharp decline, and if the decline doesn't really deepen much, and if it is able to hold the ground and not really decline below the prior swing low, which is there around 170, we will be in a good position to then bet on the next leg of the rally on the higher side. But for us, the price should stabilize first above this prior swing low, and then eventually we can make a fresh bet for the continuation of this upward momentum. In the longer term, the things are similarly bullish. It is simply starting to decline after this tremendous run on the higher side. For the most part of 2023, the things were quite bullish for the stock, the JP Morgan case. It started from the lows of 101 way back in October 2022. From there on, it rose sharply and then went into a consolidation phase around the price levels of 130, 140. It spent a couple of quarters near around near those levels, and then it picked up the bullish tendency around the late October, and it went on to rally strongly. But now things seems to be correcting and profit booking phase, and we will have to wait it out. These are early days for this decline, and the best thing we can do is see how long it lasts. It is not the time to go short for it from the longer term perspective as well, nor it is the time to go long in it either. And maybe this is better for us if we sit on the sidelines, allow the things to evolve, and depending on the kind of price action which we are going to observe over next few weeks. Maybe by the next month or a couple of months later, we might get a better opportunity to trade and invest from the long term in the JP Morgan Chase stock. So that's all from my side for today's session. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, do write to me in the feedback and I'll be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Thank you all for joining in. If you have found the session informative and useful from your trading and investing perspective, do like and subscribe to the channel where you will find equally interesting sessions hosted by me as well as other technical analysts. See you next time around. Till then, goodbye.